I had to take out the volume pot in order to get it into the control cavity, and then just tighten it back on afterwards. And I'll just remove my fingerprints, and then I can put on the nuts. Of course, I just checked one more time that it actually worked when I got it into the cavity, that I didn't have anything shorting out. I couldn't find a set of these knobs with only 2 in them, so I got 4, and it's okay because actually the 2 of them has some small dents or scratches, so I used the good ones, and then I have a couple of spares if I should ever lose one at a time. And I'm thinking I'm gonna align the knobs so that when I look down on the knobs when I'm playing, I can kind of like see in what position they're in. Yes. Now the front is pretty much done. On a normal Telecaster, the control plate is the other way around, where you have the switch in the front here and the volume in the middle and the tone in the back. The reason why I changed this around is because in this way I got much more free access to the volume in order to quickly turn it up and down and use it to kill the sound by just flicking it off. And if the volume had been the middle one, and then when I mostly play the bridge position, and then the switch would be here, and then it kind of like gets in the way for controlling this if there has been the volume knob, so it kind of like gets in the way. So I will usually be playing the bridge, and then on my guitar the switch is here, so it's away from the tone knob, so I also have good access for the tone knob, which I usually don't use that much. Usually it's just all the way up in the bright position, but still it's nice to have just a bit of control. And that's the reason why I've turned around the control plate. Also, the volume here instead of here is more natural for me when I'm playing, because when I've got my hand on the guitar, I'm playing, the pinky is just down there, so I can quickly adjust the volume. So that's just a much more natural position to me. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I think, is getting started on the setup. So I will put the rest of the strings on. I will put the springs on, so I can start working on the setup. I need to figure out something with this, the tremolo block, because it's too tall. You can see when I bend down, it will actually stick out of the body, and therefore I cannot mount the cover plate. So one solution is to order a 37mm block instead of this 42 one, but I'm having a bit of trouble sourcing a place that actually has them and ships to Denmark, believe it or not. I think all parts actually has them, but they don't ship to Denmark, so that's a bit annoying. This is brass, which is a softer kind of metal, so I might take a stab at it with a saw and just simply trim off 5mm, and then just drill out the holes to fit the springs. So I might try and do that, and that also saves me a bit of money instead of ordering a new block. So I'll try to see what I can work out to get this to fit inside the spring cavity. And now I just removed this much from my 42mm trim block, so now it's actually closer to 37, which is the right size for my guitar. Yeah, I sheared a drill bit when trying to deepen the holes for the springs, so I had to take another one and make the holes just a little bit larger in diameter, but I think it'll be okay. So now we'll put this back together and start putting on the strings on the guitar so I can do setup. I have just noticed that the fret seems just a bit rough, so I'm gonna polish the frets to give them a smooth feeling, and I'm just gonna use this stone, which has two grits. I don't know exactly what grits it is, but this is the slightly rougher and this is the slightly finer. I'm just gonna dampen it with a wet cloth, and then ever so slightly just gonna move it on top of the frets. And I'm not really trying to remove material, I'm just trying to get out the grooves from the machining. And because I'm very careful here, I haven't taped up the fretboard because I'm not going to come in contact with the fretboard. And it's pretty much just the weight of the stone that's I don't put any weight on it myself. Now I have put on strings on the guitar and I have tuned it to pitch, which for me is drop C sharp. So I'm half step under normal standard tuning, and then the sixth string or the low E string is dropped an additional full step. So and the next job is to set the string tension right, and with this shallow syreclaw it's just one key here, and I'm simply just turning it until I can take the roll of tape out. I need quite some tension. Starting to go. That's it. And then I'm gonna check the tuning again. Unfortunately, my TU2 bus tuner seems to be out of order. I can't get it to tune right, so instead I'm using my phone, where I got an app called Guitar Tuner, which is very good, and it's set to drop C sharp tuning. It was just it was actually not off. So that's it. I'm just gonna check the trim action. Now it's probably out of tune again because I have not locked it at the headstock. So, but it seems fine, the action on the trim, and it is pretty much square to the body. I could probably tighten the springs just a little bit. Yes, and then again, check the tuning. So now the next step will be to start looking at the action, and I can see that the strings need to be a bit lower, and when I check the bow of the neck, it seems to be pretty much could maybe make it a bit more straight. I think I'll start with lowering the action, and also by this I will check the radius that I have set on the tremolo to see if it matches the fretboard. It seems to be pretty close. Now I have lowered the string action right down onto almost touching the 22nd fret, just to check the radius of the bridge with the radius of the fretboard. I'm looking for pretty much the same gap underneath the strings here, and it's almost perfect. I could maybe put just another piece of copper tape underneath the 6th and the 5th saddle, as well as the 2nd and 1st saddle, so that the 2 middle strings would get just a little bit closer to the fretboard. But I don't think I want to do that right now because it is such a little difference that I don't think it's something I'm gonna notice. Okay, now I have set the action where I want it. I don't use gauges and feelers and all kind of stuff to get the action exactly where they say it should be. I just simply do it by feel and by eye, adjust it to where I think it's right and where I like it. And also I adjusted the pickups so that they're even in the output. Now it's time to put the springs back in the guitar. It's a little. That's it. I've just gone back to standard tuning, but half a step down. I have finished the setup and got it to where I like it. The last thing I need to do is to mount the cover plate here. So I'm actually just using the holes here because I can see I need to be back here somewhere. I could start measuring from the center line here in the wood, but it's very difficult to see where the two pieces are glued together. It is a two piece, but it is very difficult to see. I think it's here. So I think I'm just gonna line this up by eye. Just gonna stand up and look down at it. seems pretty straight. Straight enough for me anyway. Then I'm just gonna mark the holes. Okay, and now I want to make a hole in the plate so that I can get this in and adjust the spring tension without taking off the cover. And with the Sheller Claw comes this little stud, and then you line this with the holes that you made for the screws, and simply just press down, and it should make an indent on this side. And then I just need to find the drill that is big enough to let this go through. And I'll just see if it, yes, it fits through. Then I'll remove the protective plastic cover here. That's it. The guitar is now finished, and as you can see, it is quite easy to fit this in and adjust the spring tension. Of course, I still, when the right nut size comes, I need to change this out and check the setup again. But otherwise, this is now the finished guitar.